Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. My name is Willie Lawson. I am thrilled that you are taking a little time out to chat with us today. Well, you can't chat with us because you can't call in, and it's 12:30 in the morning here where I am doing this, but it's worth it. It's worth it. I did not take a nap today. My wife was home from work. We had a doctor's appointment, and it's great news. So we're thrilled. And although it was kind of a hassle to get to the great news, but it's great news. She had been under the care of a doctor that released her from care today about an issue that we have been dealing with, golly, all of our marriage, really. And it's awesome. Awesome. So praise the Lord on that. Thank you for your prayers. But she kept me running today. I got groceries. She made me get a haircut. I did that this morning. And let's see, what else did I have to do? I got groceries. I got a haircut. I had to go to the pharmacy and get medicine, and just kept me busy. And normally on Fridays I take a big fat hairy nap for 2.5 hours in the middle of the day. Not today, which is okay, which is probably best that I was able to get out and about. And it's 2 days, I'm telling you, it's 2 days in a row. I am going to get to it, so just chill. Because for 2 days in a row, I have purposed not to do that. I've sort of been in that rut. And, I'll get up in the morning, she goes to work, and then I'll come in, I'll do some broadcasting, I'll do some podcasting, and then about noon or so, I'll tuck it in for a couple of hours before I go to work, because I work in the afternoon and early evenings. So I've been trying to sort of get out of that the past couple of days, and I've been successful. I've not taken one minute of nappy nap today, and I've only had a couple cups of coffee. I just finished a big one now. Wait a minute. Just finished it, and fortunately, caffeine has no effect on me. I'm like Superman. I'm like the Superman who's not affected by kryptonite. Bring it. I don't care. I'll bathe in caffeine. Go right to sleep. So anyway, this subject has been on my mind for a while, and it's about BCC. I'm just going to call it BCC. It's a Black conservative community, because at least there used to be a Black conservative community. And when I talk about that, when I'm in reference to me, people that I thought were in my community as Black conservatives were people like K. Carl Smith, C.L. Bryant, Alphonso Rachel, Star Parker, Kevin Jackson, Lee Elders, Shirley Huzar. Those were some of the people that were in my BCC. In my Black conservative community, and I say it that way because I was able to, and still am, to get a hold of them if I got something going on, or if I need them to come on a podcast to discuss the subject. If I needed somebody to fly across the country, Ali Alexander as well, who's a Republican. Because I want to spend a little bit of time saying that you have to support the BCC, because I think it's our only hope. I've said for years that the answers to the things that are ailing America are in the hearts of minds of Black conservatives, and it is because of perspective. It isn't just because we're smarter than everybody else, although, it's perspective. We can see things differently than most, even conservatives can see things. We can see a conservative approach is the right answer to solving the economic woes of the urban community. And we know why, and we know who the good players are. We've talked about this before. We talked about this with Sonny Johnson years ago, that I'm not advocating people selling drugs, but do you know what? But you know something about the kid who's selling drugs on the street? in order to be successful in his business, do you know all the things that he's got to know about? He's got to know about inventory and keeping inventory, and he's got to know about how to purchase and making sure that his income is more than his outgoing, keeping costs down, and all those things that, frankly, you have to really be good at in business school, right? If you're going to run any kind of business. So a lot of those very same things, transfer to legit businesses. The things that you have to learn about to be a successful drug dealer, frankly. If you're selling weed, a lot of those very same things transfer over. And I know that people don't like to hear that, and especially white conservatives don't like to hear that. Because drug dealers should be locked up for, thank you, Nancy Reagan, they should be locked up forever and the key thrown away. As opposed, and a lot of black conservatives have looked into the community and go, you know what, the people who should be running businesses are people who used to be drug dealers. Now, we don't want you to be drug dealers anymore. We want you to be legit. We don't want you to be poisoning our kids and grandkids anymore. We want you to be legit. We want you to create real high-paying jobs because you've got the skills to, you understand the general concepts of business. Much so than the people who get out of high school, that we continue, that not that you shouldn't get out of high school, but we continue to celebrate them. Unfortunately, they don't know much. I would say that the successful drug dealer probably knows more about business than the kid who goes to a 4-year college and was a business major. Probably knows more about how businesses really run than the kid who was a business major for 4 years and learned about theory and really didn't have any time to practice anything that they were being taught. I think that the BCC understands this perspective more than the general population. And the BCC, for the most part, BCC is the black conservative community understands that thinking outside the box is completely necessary. And I'll tell you what, all the folks in my BCC are outside the box thinkers for sure, because you have to be, because we can't go through the normal channels. We can't approach people in the same way as other people do. We can't approach people in the same way that white conservatives do. We can't approach our communities the way that white liberals or white conservatives do. We've got a completely different approach. We understand that we may have to work with and partner with people that we may not agree with every jot and tittle on, because we don't have the luxury of groupthink. We don't have the luxury to walk around with one brain. We have to be able to be adaptable. We have to be able to think on our feet. And we have to be able to infuse what we're doing into the community, as opposed to the idea that we're there to save them. Because for the most part, the black conservative message is you don't need to be saved. If there are things that aren't going well, we can save our damn self. Thank you very much. Which is an approach and a thought that is actually very well accepted in a lot of urban communities. We don't need anybody to come and help us. We can help our damn self. And in a lot of communities, if indeed you don't have the quote poverty pimps come in and steal that message out of the hearts of the people who can actually do the work in the community, you see communities getting better all on their own. You see crime watches, where I live, crime is down. Now, people will say it's down because of of how it's being counted, and that's part of it, no doubt. I mean, you got to be truthful about it. But in talking to a lot of the police officers in this general area, they'll tell you why crime is down. They'll tell you because the deal is that a lot of people who live in this community are looking at these crime watch organizations and taking matters of observation anyway into their own hands. Now, they're not vigilantes. We're not doing any stupid Zimmerman nonsense. We're not accosting people. We're not pulling guns on people. We're not chasing them. But you know what? People are looking out their windows. And people are calling the police when groups of people are gathered in places and you think maybe they're there for nefarious reasons. The police are being called. And just that has had the positive effect of bringing down crime. People who live in the community took ownership of their community. This is a conservative principle, I believe. And a lot of the BCC understand this. And we understand it without being preachy. We understand it about, you know what, because I've had to dial back a lot of my white conservative friends. Because my white conservative friends want to, you can hear it by the way they talk. Well, don't they know that Martin Luther King was a Republican? Don't they know that that the liberals want blah blah blah? And you approach them like, so you're going to teach them all this stuff? These folks are smart. The people who live in my area are smart. They don't need you to come in and be their savior either. What people need to learn is that they can that with Christ they can be their own savior. That they can be their own champions for their own communities, and that's the concept, and that's the viewpoint and the perspective that Black conservatives have over everybody. You know what I'm saying? Over everybody. So our only hope is in the hearts and minds of Black conservatives. So we have to support Black conservatism and that community, and we don't have the luxury of eating our young. We do not have the luxury of eating our young. There's been some people. The super fans have tried to create some beef between certain people and Candace Owens. I say squash it, because it's really leading to pushing us apart as a community. When right now, more than ever, we have got to find a way to coalesce as a community. We have to find a way to really coalesce as a community. Because, you know what, it seems like things are easier than ever, and I think they may be in certain ways. Through 2008 to 2015, I was in this, in this movement, and when there was a Black president in the White House. So how difficult was it to go into communities like I live in, which is 70-30 Democrat, and offer an alternative to what was in the White House? How difficult was it to say I'm supporting John McCain as president of the United States instead of Barack Obama? This coming out of this face, coming out of this brown-skinned face. Or 4 years later saying I'm supporting Mitt Romney as president of the United States over Barack Obama. And and if you listen to my podcast on Blog Talk Radio, you'll know that I shook my head violently when Mitt Romney was nominated, because I was there when it happened. Thanks to support of some people who supported my program on Blog Talk Radio and my cause in general, I was able to get on the Radio Row at the 2016 convention that was here in Tampa, and I was in the hall when Mitt Romney won the nomination. I was in the hall when it happened. When they were voting, I was in the hall. And it just blows my mind. It blew my mind. I said, you know what? In 2008, you had Deputy Dog as a Republican. Shook, somebody who said they had never sent an email. And then, after, and you paired him up against the Black Superman. And then 4 years later, you picked the whitest man in America. Translucent white. Milk drinking white dude. Who wouldn't say if he had a mouthful of it. Right? To run against Barack Obama again. And then had the nerve to be surprised. Yes, all the metrics that the Republican Party had been watching sort of guaranteed this victory, and they would even go with somebody who basically gave Barack Obama the blueprint for Obamacare. Nightmarish disaster after nightmarish disaster after horrendous strategic planning or lack of planning leading to that. And I was super critical of the Republican Party, and I still am fairly critical of the Republican Party. That's why I don't talk about the Republican Party all that much. I'd like to just continue to talk about BCC and the Black Conservative Movement. So I was going against the grain then, and a lot of the people that I mentioned before, and I'll mention them again because I think they're all super. People like Star Parker, who got up at 7:30 in the morning her time and was on this program. People like Shirley Huzar, who came on my program numerous times, and just recently, when she was able flew me to California, the organization Urban Game Changers. They actually, Shirley hooked me up with the Washington Times, and we wrote a column for the Washington Times Online for about 3 years, and then just recently flew me to California to participate in a Politicon and Taste of Soul, and now we're about ready to take the Urban Game Changers thing to DC for the African Descendants of Slaves 400-year celebration here in August. I mean, people who are actually doing something fantastic. So we have Star Parker and Shirley Huzar. We've got my friend Ali Akbar, who after, and I said I'd do this. I promised myself I'd do this. Ali and I had beef after this, and it was just shitty of me to do, frankly. Excuse my language. It was just shitty of me to do. I was frustrated on my campaigns, but Ali gave me the chance of a lifetime, really. AFP was hosting Right Online. That's Right, RIGHT online. That was a big meeting with all the podcasters and bloggers. We're all meeting in DC. AFP had the whole program set out, and I would have loved to. I told him I would love to go, and he said, "What if I could get you a scholarship?" And I said, "I'm down." And I'll be damned if he didn't do exactly what he said he was going to do. He kept me a scholarship, and what that meant was that it paid for my flight there, and it paid for my room at the Marriott Renaissance, where the thing was being held for 2 nights. A lot of money. Something he didn't have to do. He could have done that for anybody, but he did it for me. And I apologize for having beef with Ali, and I am forever grateful. I made some great folks that day. I mean, during that time, I met Brandon Darby. I met and built a relationship with Sonny Johnson, and those two relationships have gone on for a long, long time, and I still have a relationship with both of those people, especially Sonny Johnson. So Sonny Johnson, another person that I could get a hold of and have on my program, and was always great. People like C.L. Bryant, Runaway Slave, and the Content of Character Tour. Just couldn't talk about better people. And then he was on my program a number of times, and and then was able to have me be on the Content of Character tour when it came to Tampa, be on the dais. It was great. People like K. Carl Smith. K. Carl Smith was the leader and still is the leader of the Frederick Douglass Republican organization, and was always available. And we shared the stage more than once, and was always somebody that I could use as a resource. Kevin Jackson had a Blog Talk Radio program during the same time that I started, and I tease him all the time that my show was always better than his. And he says, yeah, it was. But you know what? He has been a grinder, and now he's on Salem Broadcasting. Salem is the biggest Christian broadcasting company in the country. And he has a political show that he's had for probably 5, 6, 7 years now. And Kevin Jackson is a good friend of mine, and he's killing it. Kevin McGarry, somebody who was a Facebook warrior and now living in San Francisco, and now is traveling the country, doing good things in urban America, making things happen for the BCC, and making things happen for Black people in urban America. So there are people like that everywhere, and that's the kind of people that's in my BCC. Oh, and my lovely wife. Those are the people who are in my BCC. Alphonso Rachel. I cannot say more about Alphonso. Alphonso Rachel traveled across the country to be at my Juneteenth event. I mean, came early in the morning and left in the afternoon. And left a paying gig to come to this one. I flew him across, the organization raised money and flew him across the country. Now, sadly, he never got his speaking fee and hasn't to this day. I would pray for help. It was $1,000. Now we can somehow raise $1,000. Frankly, it's too late. It's too little, too late to make up for it. But he deserves it. He worked for it, and I think it's just the right thing to do, and it's just sad and pathetic and pitiful that I've not been able to get him that money in all this time. So this happened back in 2010. So it's been almost 10 years. It's time. $100 a year. I should have been able to do that. It's one of my biggest failures in the community. It's my biggest failure in the community. I'll just say it that way. So I want to apologize to Allie. I want to apologize to Allie Alexander. That's at Allie on Twitter, and my friend Zoe Rachel. That I didn't live up to my end of the bargain on either of those deals, and I apologize publicly. I hope to be better moving forward. But this was a community. One of the first interviews I had was with the lady who was the chair of the National Black Republicans Association. I was able to give her a call, and she agreed to be on the program, and she was, and it was great. It was community, and now we're not having the same level of community that we did before. I think after the re-election of Barack Obama, a lot of people were broke and tired and sort of went back to their lives. And now there's a new group of people who rode the Trump train or who are riding the Trump train, and that's cool for them. That's fine. As a graybeard, do I wish that they would, now that they have the people like Candace on, now that they have the spotlight, do I wish they would share it with a lot of other people? Not necessarily me, because I wouldn't do her any good. But there are other people I think that can reach people or talk to people that Candace can't. That I would think that as far as the community is concerned, it would do a lot of good. I think it would do a lot of good if she would work with, at some level, people like Alphonso Rachel. I think it'd be great if she would work with Sonny Johnson and Shirley Hussar. The three of them would be off the chain. I think that would be really, really good. And then they could have the grand lady, Star Parker. So in that group, Star Parker is the grand lady. The four of them working in tandem would be just outrageous. I think it'd be outrageous. But that's just me. And I'm not one to tell Candace Owens and Charlie Kirk, who was 14 when I started my podcast. He was 14. I was 38. He was 14 years old. He was in middle school, 8th grader. While we were out, getting cussed out, getting spit on. I know some people got mad at them at a Starbucks and yelled at them and said bad words. And I think somebody threw a cup of coffee or something at Candace, and that sucks, and that should never happen. But you know what? Other people have gone through that and worse. I didn't get dogs sicked on me. I didn't get fire hoses sicked on me. Nobody refused to serve me at the lunch counter. I didn't have that experience, so I didn't whine about my experience. Oh, did I say they're whining? I didn't bring it up. Well, it's not like it's even a point of contention. Any of the crap that we went through it's not even a point of contention. You just stay focused on what we're supposed to be doing. That's it. Because there's going to be resistance. The best part about Now Over Then is it's so easy for things to get recorded. So a lot of times the videos simply speak for themselves. This is the treatment that conservatives are getting. This is the radical left, the dangerous radical left. A lot of times you don't have to say anything. They convict themselves by their behavior. But in any case, I think that we've got to be gentler and kinder as a BCC to one another, and not focus so much on how people are doing this or that, or whether you feel left out or disrespected. Just more of, can we stay focused on urban America, because we have the answer. If we can make urban America better, then we can make our country better. I believe that from the bottom of my heart. If we can find a way to improve the quality of urban America, of large cities like Detroit, Los Angeles, San Francisco, St. Louis, Atlanta, Miami, Jacksonville, Newark, New Jersey, Washington, D.C., Seattle, Washington. If we can fix that, make those communities better, we make our nation better and stronger. I believe that. And I think those answers are in the hearts and minds of the BCC. In any case, we got to get out of here, make room for somebody else. Thank you ever so much for spending some time with me this evening, this morning, or whenever you're doing that. Listen, send me an email at wls860@gmail.com and let me know where you heard the program, whether it was on Spotify, whether it was on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, wherever you heard the program. That'd be really cool. All right, we got to get out of here and make room for somebody else. So until we see you again, go out there and learn something, love somebody, and for goodness sakes, y'all take care of yourself. We will see you when we see you. Bye-bye now.